Hey, I'm Katrina from inkatwetrust, and I am back with a new movie review. This time I will be reviewing Queen of the Ring. So I was super fortunate to be invited by Sumerian Pictures and Ash to attend the New York City premiere of Queen of the Ring as media and press, which was super, super fun. I got a lot of some content. I got a Q&A after the movie. I got to interview some of my favorite wrestlers and got to interview some of the stars of the movie. But before I give you my thoughts and comments and my ultimately awesome review of Queen of the Ring, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you can keep up with all the nitty gritty and shenanigans that go on in Cat Trust. And so, as stated, I was invited to attend the Queen of the Ring New York City premiere as press. It was super awesome. Before the movie started, we had to check in about 5:30 or so and kind of line up so we can talk to the stars as they went through the red carpet of photographers and then went to the interviewee side, which is where I was on. And so it was a super awesome experience. I have done a red carpet before, but the last time I did a red carpet, I was as a fan. I was a mom and a fan, and so it was the Red One movie with Chris Evans and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and so that was pretty cool. It was a little stressful, and I was in mom mode, but this time I was there in working mode, and I was in New York City as working mode. So anyway, basically, this movie is the story of Mildred Burke, who was a pioneer in women's wrestling. And if you do not know who she is, I need you to Google and look it up. So, Queen of the Ring is based on a book that was about Mildred Burke's life, and gave you a bit of a deep dive into, Mildred's life, kind of getting into the professional wrestling business as a woman in the 1930s and 1940s or so. And so it does start off with Mildred, in a diner. She's a single mom, working really hard, working at her mother's diner, but want more dreams and aspirations for herself. And as somebody who, am a mom, I do have children and kind of figured out my footing and certain things a little bit later because, again, mom stuff comes first. I could relate to the aspect of just wanting to be the very best you can be for your children and give them everything that you may not have had. And so Mildred was a hard worker, but she did go to a wrestling show, and that was when she realized she wanted to be a wrestler. And so you see all the wrestling terms, kayfabe, faces, heels, all that good stuff. And of course, me being the wrestling fan that I am, super popped for a lot of the stuff that they were discussing. She talks to Billy Wolf, who she will marry later on, and he will be his business partner of later training her and getting her prepared. And at first, he was very dismissive, as men tend to do sometimes in the industries that are male dominated. But he realized quite quickly that Mildred was not only athletic, but she was determined and knew how to get into put on a show. And so they show her wrestling men at carnivals. That's wrestling is a carny business. Wrestling men real matches and kind of making her name for herself. And so she broke into actual professional wrestling from an amateur to professional athlete. And we get to see her journey as far as learning, the business, but learning about herself and even inspiring young girls and other young women to want to wrestle. And so we get introduced to some characters like Marva Scott and Babs Wingo and Mae Young and Elvira Snodgrass and, you know, Carla, who was played by Tony Storm, and just a lot of women around the time that she may have had it feuded with or friendships with, et cetera, et cetera. I thought the wrestling aspects of it, the actual matches were top notch, fantastic. I did like when I did speak to some of the cast that they did have to train. They had to train to learn wrestling, train with Al Snow. Camille, who was in the movie as well, trained the lead who plays Mildred, Emily, trained her to prepare her for the role. And she had the gun. She kept flexing in the movie. And I'm like, yes, yes, girl. This is perfect for Women's History Month. And so it was a fantastic, like watching the matches playing the movie, I felt like a fan, like even though I knew the outcome of a lot of the matches already because I do know a good amount of stuff about Mildred Burke. I felt like I was watching things like for the first time, or felt like I was watching something new, like a fan, excited to see how the end was going to play out, the character work. One of the things I truly appreciated also was the friendship between the women, between the ladies, a lot of camaraderie and sisterhood. And, in the business, especially wrestling business, sometimes things aren't always as friendly as you want it to be. Sometimes things are very shady. Again, it is a carny business, and then there's always the aspect that women are super catty and mean and not nice. And yes, there was some of that in the movie, of course, because you got the women who went up to those heel roles and they played it even in real life. That wasn't part of the gimmick. But for the most part, in particular, Francesca, who plays me young, top tier, Damaris, who plays Babs, and just the camaraderie between the ladies, the friendship, the sisterhood of looking out for each other, kind of having each other's back. And I feel like that's something that was so important to have. You know, Mildred, was talking to her son Joe when he grows up, and at first he was being a little bit extra. Teenage boys go through what they go through, but eventually, he would get up and you can see he's matured. And there's a scene at the end of the movie when she's, fighting for the title, and he kind of gives her a pep talk. He coached her, but the talking to her and that bond between them really did bring tears to my eyes. I was actually very happy. Again, I am a mom, and just that aspect of you just trying to do your very best, trying to be there for your family, but also trying to make a name for yourself and like make your person that's not just being a mom also feel important. I think sometimes that is lost with moms when you're sitting here trying to do everything you can possibly do. And sometimes you lose a piece of yourself because you want to be the best mom you can be. And so I felt like those aspects were so important. Before I get to rambling about how awesome I think this movie was, I thought the cast absolutely killed it. I felt all the emotions they were trying to invoke, both the people who were heels. Billy, he was just of a man, of how he treated Mildred, kind of pitting some of the women against each other. But I thought every aspect of the story can be told, and I do feel director Ash truly put his heart and soul into this movie. And so I loved it. I was so glad and grateful to be there with some of the women and that some of the stars of the movie, some wrestling legends I got to speak to and sit next to or sit near, and I was very grateful for that. But if I am going to review this movie out of 5 stars, I'm giving it a 4.5. The reason why it's a point 5 because there was the only thing I was a little bit iffy about was a scene where Mildred would fall for Billy's son, Chi-Bill. And I was like, well, I kind of understood it. Again, I'm a romance writer, so I write things and I like a nice, happy, like happy ever after, happy for now. But I just felt like it was just such a messy situation. And I really I felt a bit impartial to that, but that's just probably more of a personal opinion. But otherwise, I truly, truly enjoyed the movie. I think Ash, and Sumerian, I think they knocked it out of the park. This is an indie film, and so if you can get a chance to go and watch it, please do watch it. Support them, support the women. Again, this is Women History Month, so support the ladies. And pro wrestling has come such a long way when it comes to women in the business. And I thought, having somebody story like Mildred who basically set the path for things to women to main event and women to fight each other and women to get $1 million contracts, which a lot of the women did say when I spoke to them. I think that's such an important film, and I think they did a great job and knocked out the park. So I give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I hope you guys go check it out this weekend. It is coming out. Support it. Watch it a bunch of times. Take your friends, take your family, take your children, take your boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever it is. Take them and have a good time. Again, this is my review for Queen of the Ring. I truly hope you guys enjoyed. I did spoil something, so I do apologize for that. But tell me in the comments what you think, what are your thoughts, and how much you know about Mildred or any of the women that was mentioned in the movie. And I can't wait to read those comments. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Bye, guys.